anal sex is hyperlinked to another Wikipedia article. Now, I didn't click on it.
Welcome to SinCast, presented by Cinemasins.
All right, everybody, welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from Cinemasins, joined as always by the voice of Cinemasins, Jeremy Scott.
Howdy.
And from Music Video Sins, Barrett Share.
Yeah!
Today, we're going to get right into some anger again, man. We had a week off, so we had 2 weeks of anger to build up. Tell me what you guys want to rant about today.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
I'm as mad as hell!
You've never seen me very upset.
Can I start?
Oh, please.
Go for it.
Because this is more of a question for you guys who know a lot more than I do about this. So, it's less of a rant and more of like I'm quizzical about all sides of this. Warner Brothers decided, a week ago as we record this, something like that, maybe a couple weeks ago, that they are going to release their entire 2021 slate of movies, which includes blockbusters like Matrix 4, Suicide Squad, Dune, Wonder Woman 1984, of course, is the first one, and many, many others, all on HBO Max, while simultaneously releasing in whatever theaters they can get into or open available, that kind of thing. That's not the end of the story. So, I look at this and I say, great for me, because I ain't going to the theater anytime soon. Even though I miss the experience, I miss seeing stuff on the big screen. I'm not anti-movie theater at all. But if I can watch Matrix 4 the day it comes out on my TV for a subscription service I already have, fuck yeah. However, there are some people that are not happy about this. From what I have read, Christopher Nolan was kind of the first one to come out and say, hey, man, this is not good for movies in general. There are some movies that need to be seen on the big screen. He later qualified, again, from what I've read, qualified it by saying, I'm not talking about myself getting paid. He weirdly name-checked Ben Affleck, who I don't think has been in a Christopher Nolan movie. He was like, I'm not talking about Ben Affleck. I'm talking about like the grips, the catering people, the smaller name actors, that kind of thing. They need to get paid through SGA or whatever it is. And so, I see his point. Then Denis Villeneuve, who we all love as a filmmaker, came out and who is directing Dune, came out and said, basically the same thing. Like, no, this is not good. They criticized the streaming service itself, HBO Max, which I don't really have a problem with. They criticized the move. And the last thing that I'll say is that it seems like Warner Brothers didn't tell anybody that they were going to do this, at least the filmmakers themselves. And to me, that's maybe the most egregious thing, that somebody like, Nolan released Tenet regardless already. But Villeneuve, who's got, a tentpole of a movie that he's been working on for years, was not informed that they're going to do this? Like, that's kind of shady. Anyway, what I want to ask you guys is, do you have a particular, quote, side on this? Or do you just find it more interesting to see how things are changing given the circumstances that we're in right now?
I don't know about the people down the line getting paid. Like, I'm pretty sure grips don't have like a percentage of the gross. So they were paid to do the job on set, I would guess, right? My gut reaction to this, and I'm gonna qualify. My gut reaction to this is, I see where you're coming from, but you were paid to do a job and you did it. You delivered a product, and the boss that hired you to deliver it technically can do whatever they want with it. That can sometimes mean a movie gets shelved forever or pushed back 6 months. Now, from an artistic standpoint, I totally get what they're saying, that especially Villeneuve who said specifically, we shot this. Everything about this production was with movie theater screens in mind. It won't be the same film at home, no matter how good your TV or projector setup is. And I get where he's coming from. I can see both sides of it, is I guess where I ultimately land. And if people indeed don't get paid because of this deal, then that's a big problem. Yeah. But clearly, I mean, I don't get the confusion, because clearly AT&T, who owns both of these companies, wants to make a big push for HBO Max to be a Netflix-level competitor. And this is how they do it. They take assets from one company, Warner Brothers, and slide it over to this other company, HBO Max, and it's going to work. And sometime in 2021, the price of HBO Max is going to go up to $30 or $40 a month. That's the real issue for us. And then everybody else is going to follow suit. So that's the big takeaway: is streaming is going to get a lot more expensive.
I'm not certain that it will work, but to get, I mean, the one I've heard of a lot of varying degrees of discussion about the streaming services and everything, and one of the things that was brought up was that despite CBS coming out with 2 tentpole Star Trek series on their streaming service, nobody's going there to watch it. Not even your hardcore Trekkie person is going there to watch it, and we oftentimes forget about the convenience of going and just having it there for free, or if you want to go to a theater, there's the social aspect to it and everything. And a lot of times when it comes to buying into a streaming service, a lot of times people are like, I don't know if I really want to deal with all that bullshit, getting a streaming service and everything. And maybe they will once Wonder Woman comes out, but each successive movie comes out isn't going to move the needle any more than that, probably. I wouldn't think, because Wonder Woman comes out, and then most people are probably going to go for that and the Zack Snyder cut, that 4-hour thing where Batman apparently drops an F-bomb and everybody's excited about it.
That's going to make it all better, man.
Better.
That's what was missing, was the Batman saying the F-bomb.
Are you saying, Chris, that the other movies after Wonder Woman won't really hold as much water as that one does?
I think he's saying they won't bring in new subscribers.
Yeah, it won't. They don't think they're going to get much more subscribers after that, because you're going to have people who want to watch Wonder Woman. That's going to cross. If you have a Venn diagram of people who want to watch Wonder Woman, Dune, Matrix, all these different things, I mean, it covers a lot of those people.
Sure.
Yeah.
And but then if it was about the fact that they spent like whatever $1 billion on all these movies, and they're sitting there just in the can, and they want to make some sort of profit off of them or anything, I mean, all these movies would have been quote unquote new movies once they were able to come out in theaters. So I don't know why you can't just sit on them. There are a lot of there's a lot of things you can do financially, insurance wise and things like that to not take a big, huge hit on those things. But then, man, I was talking to somebody else, and he's really smart about this stuff too. And I just randomly brought out, I was like, do you think Netflix is a Ponzi scheme? Because it's one of these things where like they're not really getting more subscribers. I don't know how many more subscribers you can get, and they're dumping hundreds of millions of dollars into content and everything. And he's like, man, no, I mean, the way they're doing this stuff is investors are paying, this money, and then Netflix is putting it all into the content, and they're going to have this big, huge library by the end of it. If they go under, they have a huge library they can just sell at that point. And they can keep doing this until, I guess the money runs out, but it doesn't ever seem to run out because people keep putting more money into it.
That's interesting.
That's the way the American government has operated for my entire life. We have a loss, and nobody really comes calling, and we're going to keep chugging. And they have been operating at a loss since they started.
Yeah. So
it's not the source of revenue is not the subscriptions as the large part. It's more of the investors.
Yeah. I mean, I think that they obviously get a lot from subscribers. I mean, if you've got 100 and something million people paying $10, then you're getting a lot of money, but
that's $1 billion. Yeah.
But you're also spending more than that to get all of your new stuff, your Queen's
There's lots
Gambit
of revenue.
series.
I'm not sure there's any profit.
Right. So, I mean, they're operating on this whole thing where it's like, I don't think investors are even looking to see, they're not even buying into a company that's profitable. They know it's not going to be profitable.
Yep.
So it's a strange thing to me. Like, I've always wondered if it was Ponzi-esque, but it might be just a little bit beyond that to get away with being the way it is. I don't know. People are
at this point, they've been in business for what, 20 years almost?
Yeah, something like that.
2001-ish is when they started.
Around that length, yeah, because they were the mail-in service.
Right. The streaming started around, I think, 2008, maybe 2010.
Yeah, that's when Blockbuster started to get in trouble and everything when they started doing streaming. But anyway, HBO Max basically has the same sort of deal here, but I just don't know how many people are going to keep buying into new services just to watch new movies like that. And some people are going to be like, you know what? I can wait until Wonder Woman comes out on Blu-ray or whatever and buy it or rent it or whatever. So I don't need to get the streaming service. I can wait for that. There's been people who've been doing that for years with theaters.
Yep.
So, I mean, of course, there's always the possibility one of these companies will be like, I'm done with physical media, and then you're forcing people.
Well, there's that, and then dinosaurs like us that still have cable. The only reason that I would have HBO Max is because I have HBO on my cable package, and now those are inextricably linked, which is great. If they become unlinked, which is possible, then I would maybe hesitate. But again, I would probably that is attractive to me. I am the one that I would sign up less because of Wonder Woman, more because of Dune, more because of Matrix 4, because of Space Jam. Just kidding. But like, there's a lot of good, WB content that's going to be on there. So I would sign up for it for sure. And this does make it more attractive to me. Now, I would sign up just to watch Watchmen again too. And all the other HBO content. But this is an interesting move. And like what Jeremy said, and I didn't even think about that, the whole AT&T maneuvering all this stuff. Now, it's interesting to me that everybody signed off on it, though, from Warner Brothers
I don't
to
know
HBO.
that they have a choice.
Max is saying, sure. You don't think they have some sort? You don't think the president?
I don't think
Warner
ultimately
Brothers?
AT&T has to get permission from anyone at Warner Brothers to have to tell them what to do.
That's
I
been
really don't.
That's been the way things have been for a long time. When these big, huge corporations have bought studios, the head of Paramount is put in there to definitely guide the year's schedule and everything, but everything money wise is going to go through whoever bought Paramount. There's all these companies have gone through multiple corporations and buyouts and things like that, and it's always those companies that are down with their
Comcast, Universal.
So if Comcast says we're going to do something, Universal says yes, Daddy. Right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. I mean, it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe because you think of Universal as the creative and the masters of their own fate and everything. No, they're not. They are not.
So we all have HBO, and you guys will be like me and watch these as they come out. Maybe not the first day that they come out, but we will all watch these on the service.
Yeah,
right?
For me, it's not even a big deal. I mean, I've got HBO, I've got HBO Max, and it's I've got it's free HBO Max essentially, quote unquote, because I've got HBO. So yeah, I mean, no issue for me, but for people who don't have HBO, You know,
Yeah,
they're gonna have, and that's another thing that they have to deal with HBO Max is they're not getting another subscription from a lot of people.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit worried because my Comcast bill seems to inflate every month, and if what Jeremy is saying, nothing is free in this world. If you're getting first run movies throughout the entirety of 2021, it is certainly possible that those subscription charges will increase at some point.
I mean, Netflix increases their price whenever the fuck they want to. I just get an email.
Everybody goes with it.
Yeah, every time I get an email, it's like, 99 cents more. What the fuck do I care? I'm going to keep paying for it. It'll be $55 a month by now, and I won't be paying attention.
Right.
It probably is.
But that's how it works for me.
It's about to go up to like $13. Netflix is still one of the most affordable and crazy deals that you can get for streaming service.
Yeah.
But they can raise the price whenever they want, and I wouldn't be surprised if it filters out to your cable subscription of HBO as well, just to offset the free HBO Max. They
kind of have to, right? I mean, they're going to get new subscriptions, like you said, Chris, but like. If you're, Matrix 4 probably has $100 million budget at least, right? Wonder Woman, more than that, probably. Yeah, Wonder Woman probably had around 175, 200 million. Yeah.
Like I said,
they got to get this back, right?
Movies that you're talking about, you combine them, I guarantee you it's over $1 billion.
Yeah. So even if AT&T still is pulling the strings, one hand has to pay the other hand for the content.
Mm-hmm, yeah, pull the strings.
Anyway, it's interesting to me. I love that I can see these movies. I'll probably even watch Space Jam for whatever fucking reason, just because I can.
All these people watch Space Jam, man. There's no doubt about it. LeBron James is going to be in it, and it's the first Space Jam has become a beloved classic over the years.
For some reason, did you see that LeBron hinted that he might go wherever his son is drafted after his current contract is done and take a lower deal just so he can play a father-son season with his kid?
Yeah, that would be fun. I'm kind of sick of him switching teams.
Well, he's done it. He's a championship chaser, and it's worked, but he's still one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this Saturday and Sunday. Tiger Woods and his son, Charlie, are playing in the father-son tournament. Like Justin Thomas plays with his dad, and why are you jerking off there?
I could care less about that shit.
Well, all right.
Do we know? Is Tiger Woods' kid good at golf? Has he been practicing golf? He is.
Well, he's been dominating the junior circuit.
Seriously?
He's won several. I actually saw a really cute video of them on the driving range getting ready for this tournament, and it's like a little mini Tiger Woods swing. Like they swung at the same time, and it was just like, there it is.
It's so freaky when kids are good at golf. Like when Jeremy and I played last week, there was this father and son duo that were at the driving range when we were going off. And I was like, oh, that's nice. He brought his kid. Kid turns around and like whips out this fucking professional swing. I'm like, oh,
the kid brought his dad.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't know, Dad. If you use a 7-wood, it'll be great. You'd be able to. Just knows all the shit.
I would enjoy watching LeBron play with his son for a season. I think that would be neat. And also, his son is awesome. So
there are always good moments, like when Ken Griffey Jr. played with Ken Griffey Sr.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking about. What was it? Cecil Fielder and Prince Fielder played one game or something like that.
No, Cecil flamed out way before that.
Is that right?
I think Fielder was way gone by the time Prince Fielder came up. But
okay.
But Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. were both on the Mariners at one point, and on Father's Day, they both hit home runs.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, which was really cool. But
you also had briefly Billy and Cal Ripken on the same Orioles team with their dad as one of the coaches. So.
There was even a baseball card that had all three of them on it.
Yeah, yeah. And there was of course the Billy Fuckface card.
Yeah, Billy Fuckface. Yeah.
Billy's his brother, right?
Younger brother of Cal, yes.
What was Billy Fuckface?
There was
his upper deck card. He had a bat over his shoulder, and had scrawled fuckface on the bottom of the bat, and no one caught it the first round of printing, and then they caught it and changed it so that if you have one that has fuckface on the bat, it's worth a lot of money, like comparatively. So,
well, you guys have such great knowledge.
And then the corrections, there were corrections, and there was one that was in particular made that was more valuable than the actual fuckface.
That's right. That's right.
But I had the fuckface card.
Seriously?
And my dad was like, "You can't keep that."
Oh, no. Dad, let me keep fuckface.
I was a stupid kid, man. I should have just hit it and never said one fucking thing about it. But I always would be like, I got the fuckface card, you know?
Man, we used to go like in middle school. I'm talking 7th and 8th grade. There were probably 30 of us kids that brought our baseball cards in a binder to school every day. And at lunch, we would show cards and trade cards. And God, I miss that.
That's good, pure fun right there.
Yeah, man.
You did it while you were smoking crack, but otherwise it was pure.
Seriously. Right.
That's right.
Chris, are you angry?
Yeah, sure. I didn't know if you were about to go into yours or not.
No, mine are fake angry. I wanted real anger to go first.
Okay. I've been in the market for a mattress, a new bed for a really long time. I've been on the same one for like 8 years, and it was my brother's bed, and he probably had it for another 8 years before that. And there was probably also a time where some squatters were using it. I mean, that's how long this bed and how used this bed is and everything. And I was like, all right, it's time to get a new one. And I've been seeing these purple ads on YouTube and everything. And I was like, okay, you convinced me. I'll get a purple mattress and see what that's all about. And I'll save the suspense. I ordered this and I got it. They gave me a date that they said Wednesday was the date that it was going to come out, that I was going to get it. And it ended up being 2 days later. So I don't want anybody to think that the rant is about, I got my mattress 2 days late when they said it was supposed to come out on this other day and everything. This is not what the rant's about. The rant is about the communication that everybody has when things are late. And this was terrible for me because, it's great when you're a fucking adult and you do everything you're supposed to fucking do when something like this comes in. I had my old bed broken down. I had a junk company coming out to get the old bed and everything. Like all this stuff was going to happen. I would get the new bed would come in. I would then be enjoying the new bed, and all the shit that would be just lying around normally was gone, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But on Wednesday, I had a window. Purple used this freight service called Pilot to deliver this bed. Had a window on a Wednesday, 11 to 2 or 11 to 3, where it was supposed to come in. And it even said out for delivery. I had a text that said out for delivery and everything. I was like, yeah, man, 11 to 3, I'm getting that fucking bed. 3:00 comes around and nobody shows up, and there's not even an update. And I'm just like, okay, so, all right, maybe it'll come in late. And I've got Barrett coming over to help me out because this is probably going to be heavy as shit. And he didn't realize how heavy as shit it was going to be until it came in. But I was like, all right, I'm going to call Pilot. There's this number. I'm going to call Pilot and see what's going on with it, because it says out for delivery and it's not coming from a very far place. So why is it not here? And the Pilot national number, I'm on hold for 3 hours. I leave the phone on speaker. Obviously, I'm not sitting there just waiting for somebody to answer. Have it on speaker and just carry it around with me whenever. And 6:00 rolls around and nobody has answered this fucking hotline. And I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna call Purple now. So call Purple and I say, yeah, you're on Purple. I call Purple and they say, oh no, sorry about that. We'll look right into it and everything. And I go through all this bullshit where they send an email and then you have to send something back on the email saying this is what's happened and all the different tracking numbers and all that. And then you get an email back that says, oh, we'll get back to you in probably 48 hours.
Man.
And I was like, all right. And so I sort of give up on Wednesday and figure maybe tomorrow they'll have a new thing set up, a new update. I call the national number the next day and I finally get somebody. And they're like, oh man, so sorry that you didn't get your stuff. Well, you'll have to call the Nashville office to get to figure out what happened. I'm like, okay. So I called the Nashville office. Nobody answers for like 2 or 3 calls. And then I wait another hour and then somebody finally answers. And they're like, oh yeah. And everybody's like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry about that. Blah, blah, blah. It's like the Comcast thing in South Park where they're like rubbing their nipples when they're telling you, oh yeah, I'm so sorry. And like, I said, yeah, I was looking for this. It was there was a window was yesterday and haven't gotten any update. And the guy's like, oh yeah, we probably should have told you something about that. Yeah, you should have.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's the main thing for me. Like, just tell me where the fuck it is so I know where when it's coming in. That's the only thing that I ask, right? Like, if you just tell me, we ain't coming out with that until Sunday, then you tell me Sunday, and I'm like, oh, okay, great. But they don't know at all when they can come out with it. And I said, well, can you just put it on your truck today and just get it out to me today? And they're like, oh, we'll have to check it. I'm going to have to check with a bunch of supervisors on that. And they call and all these people and no, we can't do it today. And I was like, okay, well, what about tomorrow? And I schedule another thing for the next day on Friday. And again, they missed the fucking window on Friday. And, but someone calls finally and says, okay, we'll be out there in 2 hours. And I was like, okay, finally somebody's calling me and giving me updates and everything. And it takes them, whatever. It takes them longer than 2 hours because every stop, apparently they have delays for whatever reason. I'll never understand this. And they finally bring it out and like, it's heavy as fuck. And I get the sense that there were drivers and people who saw this and they said, oh, that's too fucking heavy, man. I'm not fucking with that.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what happened.
Interesting.
I think they missed that Wednesday date because it was just too fucking heavy and they didn't want to deal with it. It could not have been. Barrett, you saw the size of those packages. It's not like they couldn't have put like a ton of stuff with those packages.
Yeah.
Like it's not taking up lots of room. They have it all they have one thing in a box and they have another they have the mattress itself in like a tube of some sort. And like it wouldn't have taken up much room.
No.
But the point is, if you're going to run a business, if you're Purple or Pilot, tell me what the fuck is going on. Give me some recourse when this happens. My delivery was in fucking limbo for a long time. I didn't even know when I was going to get it. Nobody could tell me.
You didn't have a bed for that time.
I didn't have a bed too. I had to like sleep on the couch one night, and then I had an inflatable mattress the next night. And like, just tell me when it's coming so I know exactly what's going on. Don't leave me in limbo, man. That's the worst part of the whole thing. Yeah. That's all I ask. So like, if you're Purple and you're using a company, you need to know that you need to know how to talk to them and say, hey, get that fucking thing out. We told you to do that. And
get the fucking mattress out. What the fuck are you doing?
But they don't have any power. Purple has no power over Pilot, so there's a problem there. And then Pilot themselves, if they're just going to, it's like, fuck, I don't know. Well, we can put it on the truck whenever we goddamn well please. Then who am I trying? I'm not trying to get a refund from Pilot. Pilot doesn't have any money exchanged here. There's a problem. There's a problem there. There's a vacuum. Who do I go to when I'm wronged in a situation? I can't go to Purple or Pilot. It's fucking limbo. I hate that shit.
That sucks. I actually clicked on an order from Amazon yesterday that I thought was coming in yesterday, and I clicked track package, and it brought up this screen I'd never seen before. It was a map of my neighborhood, and it said, "Your package is 3 stops away," and it showed me where the fucking truck was on my street.
Wow.
And I was like, well, that's creepy, but righteous. I'm getting it. I do want to know, though, how do you like the new bed?
Oh, this bed is awesome.
Yeah.
I've been looking for excuses to use this bed because it's like, you'll be downstairs and I've got my awesome TV downstairs and it's like, that's the place where you want to watch things. But like, I was like, I could go upstairs, but no, it's so soft and so like, grabs you and just, it's perfect. It's just one of those, it's beautiful. Now I haven't gotten to the point yet where I'm like just sleeping 8 hours straight, which is the goal in all of this, but it's worlds apart from what I was sleeping on. So.
Awesome.
It was heavy as fuck too, man.
Yeah, man, that's one of the heaviest things I've ever.
I did. You look at those things. I've ordered one from online that worked out really well, it took me. It was in a box, yay big. Took me struggling to get it upstairs, but it wasn't that bad. This thing that me and Chris moved, man, was. I mean, it said 200 pounds, but I think that was closer to like 350 or something like that.
Jeez.
I'm out of shape, but damn. We climbed the stairs with that thing, and after it was done, I had to go into another room and just breathe it out because it was like it had just zapped me of everything, One thing I was really glad though that I did was I built that foundation the night before.
Yeah,
I was able to get that foundation because if I hadn't, that would have been like a whole just building that foundation would have seemed like it took forever, and then we would have had to put the mattress on it and everything. So,
well, all right. I almost don't want to rant.
You should.
You must rant.
I don't have a good rant. I'll ponder. I'll come back next week with something. I'm not angry today. Let's not waste people's time.
There have been times where I have skipped the rant. Let's just get into our main topic.
Let's do it.
Main topic.
Poor bastard. You poor man. I pity the fool.
It's been a while since we've looked at some poor bastards in cinema.
Yeah.
Poor bastards.
And and if you're unfamiliar with this, it's the person in the film that they go through some shit where it almost seems like the film is indifferent to their pain. Almost. I mean, not always, but for the most part, you're just sitting there going, God, what about that guy? Oh my God, they don't even have any sympathy for that person. Jesus, why'd they show this person to us anyway? Anybody got some poor bastards that they want to talk about?
Do we want to do all at the same time, or you don't want to go in rounds?
Yeah, let's all go at the same time and just start talking.
I think we go in rounds.
Okay, yeah, meaning that we do one at a time, I guess.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I would like to start with 2 characters in the 2019 Charlie's Angels film.
Okay.
Which I have.
Jesus, now we're going to watch this movie.
Have you not seen it?
I haven't watched it.
Oh man,
I've got this movie in brilliant 4K. I need to watch.
It's so
Jeremy's
much
on
fun.
his way over right now.
I love watching this movie. Anyway, there is a character named Langston and a character named Ralph, and they're neither one major characters, but they both are poor bastards. It starts with I already forgot her name. Scott is her last name. The main actress. You got to help me. She was Naomi Scott. She was in the Aladdin movie as Jasmine. She's really charming, and she's basically works at this company that's developed this tech. It's a MacGuffin. And this tech uses electricity waves to EMP shit, but the bad guys want to use it to kill humans and fry humans, right? Well, halfway through the movie, she and the angels are breaking into her old boss's office that it's a big complex with lots of employees. And there's this security guard that likes her and always flirts with her. It's Ralph. And he wands her over and he's like, oh, you're looking good today. Looking very pretty. Like, he's a little skeezy about it too. But then like later when they're leaving the facility, she sets this gizmo next to this garage door so they can EMP blow it and escape. And Ralph comes running in and she's like, oh, well, I can't let him die. I got to go out there. And she runs out. She's like, hey, you got to move. And he pulls his gun on her and he doesn't move. And he gets zapped by that thing. And they get in the van later. And she asks Kristen Stewart, he's okay, right? And she's like, yeah, I'm sure he's okay. Meaning he's dead. He just died.
No shit.
Because he liked the girl and didn't trust her. And he was basically, the movie really didn't need that. The movie didn't really need to do that to that guy. Like, she could have said, Ralph, come here, and he comes over, and then it fires, and he doesn't die. The better one to me is Langston. Now, Langston doesn't die, but Langston is still a poor bastard. Langston works with Naomi Scott at the same company, and they have a few friendly interactions. Not too flirty, but friendly. They're friends. Later on during that break-in, one of the other angels flirts with this guy, Langston, and takes off her wig and throws clothes at him as she changes outfits and winks at him, and he's like in love with her from a distance, right? And that's all you see of Langston till you get to the big finale. And at the big finale, do you mind if I spoil this movie?
No, go ahead. I'm fine with it.
Patrick Stewart is a bad guy, not a good guy. You probably will see that coming 5 minutes into the movie anyway. But at the end, he's got Naomi Scott handcuffed, and he's trying to convince her to program the gizmo to do what he wants. And to force her to, after like 20 minutes of talking, he walks over and opens this door, and Langston falls out, bound and gagged. And one of my favorite moments, Patrick Stewart just starts laughing and goes, ha ha, he was in that closet the whole time. And he nearly dies because she ends up programming the thing to backfire, but nobody knows that. And so Langston, just by virtue of being in the wrong place at the wrong time and them knowing that he was friends with her, ends up bound and gagged in a closet for what had to be, I'm guessing, at least 12 hours, if not more. And those are my first two poor bastards, but I have more.
Two in the same movie that nobody's seen except you.
Hey, plenty of people have seen it, and those who have found it fun, despite its quality standing. I think you will find it fun, particularly Kristen Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you ever watch that underwater movie, by the way?
I did 3 days ago.
For one reason, and it wasn't TJ Miller.
I mean, it was. I liked it. I thought it was pretty decent, and I don't really even dig on like that kind of thing.
Mm.
All right.
There you go. Right. What is it? Is it super bad rated? I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now you're making me nervous.
It's weird that I think I saw Underwater first. I guess I had to have.
No, it's
you
terrible.
Saw it in the theater, right?
Movies, yeah, I saw it in the theater, but Sea Fever was a better movie.
Yeah, it was. Sea Fever was awesome.
Yeah, this has a 47 on Rotten Tomatoes, and everyone hates it, even the audience. So there you go.
I was not happy with it when I saw it.
That's all right. You're boozing it.
You could have taken that two different ways. Your boo is in it, or your booze is in it.
There you go. Either
or
way,
you're
it's
boozing
true.
it.
That's what I meant. Booze in it is what it is.
Boozing it.
I got a good one from a recent thing. As soon as I saw this guy, I was like, yeah, that's a poor bastard right there. First, he's a villain, kind of, and then he's something else. Okay, so Harry Melling, otherwise known as Dudley Dursley. Dursley from Harry Potter, right?
Mm.
He's all grown up, and he was the villain in The Old Guard, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wore hoodies over blazers, which was really annoying. Anyway, and Queen's Gambit, he's fantastic. He's fantastic in a lot of different ways. So, first of all, Beth, the protagonist, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, she goes to her first tournament in the Kentucky State Chess Championship. And she goes through like a murderer's row of good chess players, but she beats them all. No spoilers. And then she gets up to Beltic, who's considered, a almost grandmaster. He's a really, really, really good player. And he's a little obnoxious to her during their match. He yawns a bunch. He comes in late. He gets coffee. He doesn't take her seriously like everybody else in this fucking show. And okay, she beats him. All right. We know that she beats everybody until the big bad. All right. So she beats him. He's kind of humiliated, but also kind of respectful to her. Afterwards, a few episodes later, they become friends. Then afterwards, he moves in with her. Then afterwards, they start fucking a couple times.
Yeah.
But after that, man, she decides, no. There is a wonderful sequence where she dances to an entire song in her panties.
Oh my God, you let Christopher Lee say the last line of that sentence. She does this whole dance in her panties. Good evening.
There'll be no dawn for men.
I don't know why it came out like that.
Panties.
Anyway, Beltic is still a very good chess player, and he's training her. He's working with her and stuff like that. They sleep together a few times, but it's pretty clear that they're just kind of on the just friends thing, because her first love is chess. Her second love is
really into him at all.
No, she's not. And then after this whole time, he becomes a fucking puppy dog. Yeah. And this is a once great, almost grandmaster chessman. Chessman. And then he's knocking on her door. He's asking if she's okay. He's calling her all the time. He bands together with her friends to help her out. Like, he's just absolutely obsessed with her. And she, even in the best of times, she doesn't give him the time of day, really. Even in his white knight moment, he's part of a group. So yeah, he's a poor bastard, man. Like, not only does he's shown as being kind of like a weak-willied, lily-livered dude in the first tournament, but then he becomes like this little lapdog, and you want this dude to flex his muscles every once in a while, but he doesn't. He's a poor bastard.
Yeah. It's always shameful to see those people on screen, man, because it's just I guess it's some sort of dramatic irony, but because you can see that there's no way they have a chance, but they don't, because especially since they've known each other biblically, and she's being nice to him and everything, there's this thought in your head that, oh, well, maybe I'm in with this girl. Maybe she likes me, blah, 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 blah. And you just can't see the lack of, you just can't see that look in her face. It just says, I'm not in love with you at all.
They do it so well. I mean, the show does it really, really well. But it's almost like she has sex with him out of like bemusement or boredom or something like that.
A few times in that series. She just kind of bangs a guy, and it's like I'm kind of happy that she just bangs a bunch of dudes.
In
that series, but she's really holding the candle for one guy throughout the whole thing. But they don't make her like virginal or anything. She's just
that series is so good.
All right, everybody, it's time to talk about BetterHelp.
BetterHelp! I love my sessions. I love my sessions so much. I feel like I got like a B12 shot the other day after my session. Just makes you feel good. Just to chat, to talk, to get some things off of your chest, to work through some things that maybe you weren't even thinking about. What I do for my BetterHelp counseling session is it's a text thing, because I have people in the house. I don't want everybody knowing my business and stuff like that. That's an option on BetterHelp, by the way. So I do a live chat. So it's like a I don't know, a text basically between you and somebody that's available for 45 minutes to an hour or whatever. So we text back, or we on the computer, we write back and forth. I usually, because I'm a writer basically, like I'll write a paragraph on paragraph on paragraph in 30 seconds. She takes a little bit longer. While she takes a little bit longer, I do exercise. And I'm like, and I tell her this. I'm like, you know what? I'm doing squat thrusts right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Indeed.
But while I'm waiting for a response, I'll just be like, doing a few things.
Doing some thrusts.
Doing some thrusts. And so I get like all of my healthy physical and mental, emotional, all that stuff in during my sessions. BetterHelp gives you the option in your counseling room to not only schedule your next appointment and also to correspond with your counselor back and forth in between sessions. But when you book a session, you can say, I want to do a video thing. I want to do a phone call. I want to do a live chat like I do. I want to do a text thing. The possibilities are really, really convenient for anybody. If you're living with a roommate and you've got thin walls or something like that, you don't want them to hear about that. Do the live chat. If you don't have anybody around and you would like to actually engage with people, which people aren't really doing a whole lot of these days, you can do a video option. And you can see and chat with your counselor just like we are doing right now between the three of us. BetterHelp is fantastic. I cannot recommend it enough. It's so good.
Let me give you a piece of advice that sounds daunting, but I'm going to follow it up by showing you how not daunting it is.
All right.
Know what you want to accomplish when it comes to therapy.
Yeah.
Have some kind of a goal in mind. That can be complex. I have a 30-year history of loving and hating my parents or what have you, or I'm dealing with addiction. It can be vague. I feel very down lately, and I don't know why. I'm stressed about this pandemic. I mean, if you know what it is you want to figure out about yourself or try and work on, then you can just take off and running, and you don't have to spend like the first few sessions with the therapist pulling that out of you. A lot of people are just so non-forthcoming in the beginning of therapy because it's a weird experience to sit down and tell a stranger, even in text, some of your darkest, deepest secrets. Not that you have deep, dark secrets, but the point is, as I get off the rails, if you know what you want to accomplish, I'd like to be less depressed. I'd like to be less stressed. I would like to improve being so addicted to this. I would like to improve my health. I'd like to work on my relationship with my siblings, what have you. Then you can get a lot more accomplished, I think, in the time that you have each week or month with your therapist.
Yeah, think about it as going to the doctor. If you've got pain in your chest or pain in your legs, or if you have a pain somewhere in your body, maybe it's somewhere that you don't want to show. It's the same thing. You got to be honest with your doctor to get some sort of medical treatment. Same thing with the counselor. You got to be honest with the counselor and have an idea of where you're going. So go to BetterHelp, HELP.com. Go to BetterHelp.com/SinCast. You get 10% off your first month. And that is not nothing. It's beautiful. Really take advantage of that first month in particular, but keep with it. Therapy, counseling doesn't end in one session or even two sessions or even three sessions. Keep with it. It's just like exercising. You will notice a difference over time. Go to BetterHelp.com/SinCast today. If you need it, do it now.
I was thinking about this dude who runs the restaurant in Goodfellas, the Bamboo Lounge, I believe.
Is that the one that they go through the back, that long shot and all that stuff?
No, that's the Copa.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the Bamboo Lounge is the one where Joe Pesci does the whole would you think I'm funny and all that.
Oh, yeah.
He's running up that huge bill, basically. And there's a scene where he comes in, and he's about to ask for some money. And Joe Pesci, already before the guy can even ask a question, he's like, hey, look at this guy. He just appears out of nowhere and blah, blah, blah. You fucking mutt, all this bullshit. And then he's like, hey, Tommy, it's, he's telling him like, God, there's a lot of money that you owe and everything. And Pesci, that Tommy character can just blow up at any moment.
Yeah,
so it's impossible to go to somebody like that and say that I want my money from him, even in the nicest possible way, because anything can ignite that powder keg that he is. So then he goes to Paulie about it. And he's like, and he basically says, you could just get rid of this guy. He's being an asshole. He's not paying his money. I don't know where to go to. And, and Polly at one point was, well, you want me to whack him or whatever? And he goes, well, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Long pause. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, Paulie. I didn't mean any disrespect. And then he's trying to tell him like, look, buy my restaurant, or be partners with me in this restaurant. And that way, if Tommy is ever like not paying his bills or whatever, I can go to you and say, hey, man, he's not paying the money and everything. Or any problem that I have. And that's the problem this guy runs into, because he can't go to the cops. And that's what the thing that if he goes to the cops, he's going to get whacked.
Yeah.
But he can't keep running his business when this guy's running $1,000 checks every night and not paying it and everything. So he goes to Polly, and then Polly, of course, turns right around and turns that into a big fucking like front for all the other shit he wants to do. Like they're moving inventory in and it's going straight back out, basically. And then it just eventually that restaurant just goes under and they have to burn it for the insurance and everything. And I'm just sitting there thinking, this guy, it's like he has a very successful restaurant. And now that he's let mobsters in, and probably unknowingly at first let mobsters in, because he's let somebody like a psychopath like Tommy in, now he's going to have to get rid of his business that was flourishing at one point. And now it's, it becomes he loses it in a blink of an eye in that movie.
Yeah. You can also make the same case for Spider. Poor Spider. I mean, the guy just he's just trying to make drinks. And they're like, no, what the fuck is this? And then, he makes that just innocuous comment. I don't even remember what he says to Tommy. But, man, it just escalates. Like, 1 second where he's sitting down. And 1 second, all of a sudden, he's up and he starts shooting at his feet, and then boom, that's it.
Yeah, he brings other people at the table drinks, and he doesn't bring Tommy a drink.
Yeah,
and Tommy's like, he's like, will you give them all drinks? You don't give me anything? And he's like, I thought you said I was fine, Spider. And he goes, I didn't say you're not fine, Spider. You're not fine. He's like, and so like that's when he does that little shoot him and dance, and he hits him in the foot and all that other stuff. And then later, they go back to him and he's like, go fuck yourself, Tommy.
Oh yeah.
and De Niro, who can't read the room, is like, are you going to let that guy talk to you like that? Oh my God. You're coming to, and Pesci, of course, he's all right. He just blows the fucker away.
Oh man.
Oh, I can't read the room. De Niro's like, there's no way he's gonna shoot this guy. Let me just make a fucking joke right now.
Oh man,
God, that movie's so wrong.
All right, so I'm gonna go with Aunt May. In the Raimi trilogy specifically. Now,
all right.
First she loses her husband, because of her dipshit nephew.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Then she ultimately loses her house, but before that, she gets involved by Doc Ock in this Empire State Building. Like she's way above ground and dropped, and Spider-Man has to save her, and she's an old lady, and then she loses her house. And there's that part in the first movie where she's in the hospital or in the bedroom, and he breaks down the wall, Green Goblin, and she was praying, and he's like, finish it! And this woman has trauma after trauma. Like, you might think I would give it to Mary Jane, because in all three movies, she's a damsel in distress, but I hate Mary Jane in these movies. I don't like this character at all, whereas Aunt May is lovely. She didn't deserve any of this shit. And I just think she takes too many hits, one in each movie, and it's disappointing. But I also read this fascinating anecdote when Alfred Molina was giving an interview, and he said, me and Rosemary Harris were in these harnesses dangling, several stories above the ground for hours at a time. And at one point she turned to me and said, "I'm classically trained,
But she got paid a lot more than she got for a Broadway run. That's
I'm sure she did.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Yeah, that's a good one. I forgot about that scene, the finish that scene. It's like an Our Father or something like that.
No, she's doing forgive those who trespass. She's doing the Lord's Prayer. I think.
That's it. Yeah, it's a finish.
And he makes her finish it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Hey, speaking of Kirsten Dunst, I've got a Kirsten Dunst one. I didn't even realize this until I rewatched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind again. There's a couple of eligible poor bastards in that movie. You could say Jim Carrey himself is a poor bastard in that movie. But Kirsten Dunst, I think, takes the taco in this one because, man, she's been through some stuff. So okay, she's dating indie boy Mark Ruffalo, like hipster Mark Ruffalo, right? But kind of, because he knows that she doesn't know that she's in love. Well, she knows, but she doesn't know about all of it. She's in love with Tom Wilkinson, the head of the Lacuna memory erasing thing, right? And so eventually, after fucking Mark Ruffalo earlier in the night, and like dancing with him in her panties.
I was about to say
on the bed where Truman is on there.
In her panties in that movie. Yeah,
that's right. And after fucking him, the same night they have to call Tom Wilkinson in to do the Hooja Watcher because he's gone off grid. Right, Jim Carrey's gone off grid, and so he comes over. Mark Ruffalo goes out for a little bit, and she's like, "Oh, I love watching you work." And like they start talking about quotes, and they have the roll credits moment and everything. And then she goes over and she kisses him, and she's like, "I love you so much." Then they start kissing some more. Then his wife comes up for some reason, and she sees him snogging over there in the open window because that's what you do. By the way, they couldn't pull the shades for Jim Carrey while he's like getting drugged and memorized and everything.
Right.
Anyway,
right.
So she runs into Mark Ruffalo, beats his ass because she sees him kissing, and then they both run out. Tom Wilkinson is apologizing. Kirsten Dunst is like, "I don't know, I'm a stupid girl. It's fun." And then the wife tells Kirsten Dunst, or she tells Tom Wilkinson to tell Kirsten Dunst that she has already had the affair with him, and she had her memory erased. So she's already gone down this road, screwed up a marriage, didn't even remember it, then goes back to be his side piece again, but has already fucked Mark Ruffalo. And there's a suspicion by me, and probably only me, that even though he denies it, I bet you Mark Ruffalo was the wiper in that instance. I bet he knew that she had an affair earlier with Tom Wilkinson, and he was one of the wipers, even though he says specifically that he didn't.
I thought he knew. I thought the movie was explicit in saying that he knew.
He says that he only suspected that they were together because he saw them kind of a few times where they acted a little flirty. But I don't buy it. I'm with you. I don't buy it. I think he was in on it. I think he knew about it, and then he took advantage of the situation to do the power fuck thing. While after she had the memory erased, because who knows how long this was ago. And yeah, it's just she is a poor bastard because she really has no idea what's going on. By the way, she's terrible at her job too.
Yeah.
He probably she's hired her in the first place because he thought she was cute.
Right.
I love how that little side story though is the key to the movie's plot, basically. because Kirsten Dunst then sends all the people who have ever had their memories wiped, files of all the stuff that they got rid of and everything, and it opens up all those great questions about whether or not you want to continue on, even though especially at the end, Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet are like, they don't have the bad memories, but they're still sitting there going, maybe we can make this work now that we know that we have bad memories and everything. And maybe I won't try to do those things that are in this file, and whether it's doomed to fail or not. I mean, obviously you can make that assumption that it probably is, but they still want to go through with it, even though, they know all that stuff.
I have two reactions to this movie, like an intellectual and an emotional one. And my intellectual reaction is, yeah, it's doomed to fail. I think the point of the movie is we are doomed to repeat ourselves. We are fallible. But I think the emotional reaction is that they know that at that point in the movie. At the end of the movie, they know that. And so they're still choosing the positives of love over the negatives.
I don't know if they're doomed to fail because they overcame this whole breakup thing. They couldn't stay away from each other, even with the procedure being done.
I think the Kirsten Dunst thing is foreshadowing that. That's why I brought that up, is that I feel like she repeated the same thing, even though she had her memory wiped. She was still drawn to this guy, and he was still kind of drawn to her, even though he knew.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that was almost foreshadowing what, again, the movie is great in that it can be interpreted a dozen different ways. But for me, that's what makes me think at the end they're definitely doomed to fail, and they know it, and they don't care. They still want the happy stuff. And
Jim Carrey even knows exactly what he did that got her upset in the first place, and he thinks that he can not be that way, but those were all emotional things that got in the way the last time, because he started, I love how they show that, like, they're, basically a love story in reverse, where, you see them at their worst, and then you start seeing those little cracks later on, like where it actually starts, where that irksome stuff starts, and you can't change the way you are. You can hide it, but I don't think you can change those little things that are about you that end up pissing somebody off a lot of times.
Yeah. So, and Elijah Wood can eat an ass in that movie.
Yeah, he's a dick.
He's a fucking asshole.
He's on his way in between Elijah Wood from The Lord of the Rings into becoming Elijah Wood in Sin City.
Yes. I think he's the best part of Sin City, by the way. I think that.
Well, he's fucking creepy. I'll give him props for that.
That is the best part of Sin City, probably. You're probably right. I know we've brought up Allison Janney in American Beauty before. I'm not sure if we brought up in the Poor Bastard section. If we have, I'm sorry if this is a repeat, but Allison Janney is a poor bastard in American Beauty.
I love how like 2/3 of our poor bastards are women.
Yeah. But you think about Allison Janney in American Beauty, she's basically catatonic all the way through that movie. And you sit there and you think about what it must be like to be married to Chris Cooper in that movie. Like, I don't know if I'm assuming because of the way he treats Wes Bentley that there's probably been some physical abuse in the past, and she's gotten to the point where she just doesn't dare say anything anymore. Probably doesn't get any kind of we don't see it in the movie. We don't see physical abuse, but we're assuming at this point that she is like so afraid of it that she doesn't do anything to try to piss him off.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of verbal abuse, and the fact that obviously he doesn't want her to at the end of the day because he is gay. And there's just, that you see her just sitting at that table and just kind of like staring into space, and you don't know if there's anything there anymore. When Thora Birch comes in with Wes Bentley and she he introduces her to her, and she goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry about the way the house looks." And Thora Birch looks around and is like, "Well, the house looks pristine.
There's not a fucking fleck of dust anywhere."
Right.
It's
and
the craziest thing.
Thora Birch looking around like, "Oh, okay, well, and maybe one of her only that's maybe her only line of that movie."
I think you're right. Yeah, because otherwise she's sitting on the couch just staring straight ahead. She
says it's not a real line, but there's that. They're on the couch watching TV, and she says at one point, "What?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And that character is definitely a poor bastard. You just think about, she feels trapped, and it's probably even more beyond the trapped after that. There's definitely a psychological change that she's going to have to, if she were able to ever get out of this marriage, she would need a lot of therapy to deal with all the things that she's experienced under that roof. I just think about that character a lot in American Beauty. They don't give her much. She's not a main part of this story at all. Anybody, it's funny if you think about people who've never seen American Beauty, and I sit here and I talk about Allison Janney in this. She's not even a part of that story, really. She's a victim that's sort of a side of, in this story that doesn't have anything to do with all the stuff that we see. But, I think about her character a lot. I think it has a lot to do with how Janney plays it, but,
there's so many side plots in that movie, man. There's Annette Bening cheating on the Fuck Me King, and then Your Majesty. There's Kevin Spacey's midlife crisis, but also his lusting after the girl. There's the friendship between Mina Suvari and Chica, who wants to get boobs. And then there's the Wes Bentley and Thora Birch, and then there's the dad, and then there's the mom. There's just all kinds of shit going on in that movie that's basically just kind of presented as a straightforward neighborhood slice of life, right? There's the Scott Bakula gay neighbors that are trying to get him in shape, and there's just it's just crazy. It's crazy how it works.
It would be interesting to know, by the way, where. I'm not saying this in a funny way, because you could just easily just say, why does Thora Birch think she needs big titties? But you sit there and you wonder, did she get that idea? And I'm wondering if the Mina Suvari character somewhat slightly chided her on her looks or something like that, because there's some sort of thought that she has a deficiency. That just there's no deficiency there. I'm not trying to be funny again, is what I'm saying. There's no deficiency there at all. But she thinks she needs a boob job. She's been saving a bunch of babysitter money for this, for something she does not need whatsoever. There's a lot of people just sort of going through weird abuses in this movie.
And everybody is not living who they really are, or who they really want to be, except for maybe Wes Bentley. Everybody is putting on some kind of a show that's not who they really are, and that's what starts Kevin Spacey's character breaking out of it. I'm not going to be this guy anymore.
Right.
Chris Cooper's character is actually gay, but he's pretending to hate gay people. Allison Janney is a shell of whoever she used to be. Yeah. Even Annette Bening is not who she really wants to be.
And I think if you look at that marriage between Kevin Spacey and Annette Bening, it's obvious that both of them are the cause of that marriage being bad. I don't know if a lot of people just look at Annette Bening and see her cheating and all this other stuff and think that she's just the main cause of this, but they're both very much the cause of that marriage being broken. Although they do give Annette Bening some more shrill qualities, I guess, because Kevin Spacey is the hero, quote unquote, of that story, even though he's certainly not a hero.
No, definitely. And the movie does go out of its way to present him as the hero. He's the one that's right. She's the one that's shrill. She's the one that can't give in to the romantic interlude when he's got a beer that's about to pour on the couch. Yeah. It's like, but have you been like you're lusting after this
just a fucking couch?
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's fucked up
because we see Kevin Spacey he has all the great lines. He has all these great things that he does in it. But you sit there and go, it's not because Annette Bening is a certain way that this happened. Like when he's talking about like what happened to that Jane that I knew and all this other stuff. I mean, there's a little part of you that changed too in all of this. And
they're also trying to set up, the whodunit aspect of who might have been his killer, because I think they truly do want you to not know until when I first watched the movie, I had no idea who it was. I felt like it could have been 4 or 5 different characters in the movie. So I think that's part of why she ends up getting played a little more shrill. Anyway, and then we talked about American Beauty for 20 minutes.
Then there's a misunderstood blowjob.
There is
a misunderstood blowjob in the history of film.
Indeed.
Let's go another round. I like this. This is fun.
Can we go again?
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. I might have mentioned this guy before. I don't think I did it as a poor bastard. I think it was just in general discussion. But in The Hunt for Red October, which is one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time, there's this part where they've deduced that Sean Connery and his officers are trying to defect with this fancy Russian nuclear sub. The Russian crew have all been offloaded up onto the surface, and the Russian sub went back down under. So the American captain and Alec Baldwin, Jack Ryan, and a few of his officers get in a tiny, tiny baby sub and go boop, 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 and they go from the small average American sub to this ginormous Russian sub, and they attach to this universal suction port thing. And it opens, and they go down, and they do the whole introduction thing, and yada, yada. And all of a sudden, a missile comes out of nowhere and goes boom. It goes by, and somebody says, a missile. And then Jonesy is there from the American sub, and he's like, no, that was Russian. The pitch is too high for it to be American. And they're like, oh, shit. And they got to get into battle mode, and the captain runs over to the tube and looks up at the mini sub, and there's one lone American doofus officer still in that tiny baby sub. And he goes, I think someone just shot a missile at us. And the captain goes, no shit, get off of here. And the guy goes, where am I supposed to? Slam. The door slams. Then there's this massive sea battle. And every time I watch the movie, I can't picture like there's some miniature 5-person sub out in the middle of all this with a guy going, oh shit, 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 oh shit. There's like multiple torpedoes fired, the whole sub explodes, and there's this dude out here in the middle of nowhere just trying not to die, and he's never addressed again. You don't ever see him again. I assume they coordinated and got his ass back on the sub, but that
very true.
Kills me.
It is funny how they completely end up ignoring that guy after that.
Oh, I forgot all about that because he doesn't have any communication. He doesn't know what Ramius is doing with the whole important starboard thing. He's just like, what the fuck is going on?
Where am I supposed to go?
We used that as an outtake somewhere. That dude saying that. I can't remember where it was, but it was something like that, where somebody was peering through like a hole like that, like one of those hatch holes or whatever, and ended up putting that in. Hey, I think somebody just shot a missile.
Did he disengage, or is he attached?
He's attached at that moment, but he has to that's what the captain's saying. Get off of here. This boat.
So he's just out there in the middle of the sea.
He has to detach to let the Russian boat do its thing, and he's just out there. Presumably, if I were him, I would have just gone straight to the bottom and hope for the best. But who knows?
Yeah. Is that the? I get confused sometimes in Hunt for Red October because there's a point where I think the American sub does go above water, and all the Russians are standing on that one thing, and they're like, he's scaring the Americans or whatever. Everybody.
Yeah.
and I don't know if it's that sub or if he's still underwater at that point.
No, it's not. That's the Dallas.
The Dallas is doing that
because the Dallas comes in to steal the second missile, which was coming after Red October.
Way to go, Dallas!
And they go, and the guy goes, the co-captain or the XO of the Dallas is like, all right, put it on the ceiling, fly, Dallas, fly, and they like do that emergency blow to get the thing on the roof.
The way they shoot that scene is fucking awesome.
The captain scared them out of the water.
Hope the crisis works.
That's right. I hope the crisis works.
But yeah, that it is kind of funny that I guess they do completely ignore what happens to that sub afterwards. It's kind of like it's kind of like the scene where they're like in the you brought up where they're in the watchtower, but they somehow come out from under the aircraft carrier when that plane crashes. And they're like, it's one of those things like, whoa, wait a minute. Just went through the Matrix here. I don't understand.
That's not how I thought it was set up.
Yeah.
Nice. I've got another 90s movie that I want to shout out. Mm-hmm. One of my biggest guilty pleasures that it has become a little nigh unwatchable these days. Very, very dated. Cruel Intentions. Guilty pleasure at the time. Doesn't hold up as well. Some parts don't. Part that does hold up well is Sarah Michelle Gellar. She's spectacular in this. Very evil, very playing against type. And then Selma Blair. And Selma Blair is my poor bastard because she gets fucked by everybody in this movie. Metaphorically and literally. Basically, the movie opens with Sarah Michelle Gellar's Catherine character talking to, is it Christine Baranski's her mom, I think?
Yep.
And Selma Blair welcoming her into the prep school and saying, I'm going to be her mentor, basically, because she's a senior. Selma Blair is freshman, sophomore, something like that. So Selma Blair falls in love with her music teacher, Ronald, who's teaching her the cello, but doing it all sexy like, doing it all like having her sit in his lap, and he's like, hey, here's how you stroke the strings and all that stuff. So she gets all puddly for him. And then like she tells Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Sarah Michelle Gellar, for whatever reason, decides, I'm going to fuck with this girl and I'm going to fuck with her hard. Right. So she makes the bet with Sebastian that he needs to seduce her so that she could be spoiled for her boyfriend. Or no, she was dating her boyfriend or something like that. So she's going to be spoiled. And she's also going to screw with the relationship between them, Ronald and her. And so after they do the pretend or the kiss with the drool and stuff like that between the two girls, then Sebastian does seduce her by getting her drunk, and that's a little uncomfortable. But he does his thing. So she's, quote, spoiled. And then she is encouraged to be promiscuous with everybody. And just because she's listening to Sarah Michelle Gellar's character, she's like, okay, whatever you say, basically. She plays a dimwit, but she's still a poor bastard. Then I believe, I can't remember exactly, but I think Sarah Michelle Gellar has sex with the cello teacher in this movie, who is the object of Selma Blair's affection. Then I'm sure the cello teacher, Ronald, will get blamed for killing Sebastian because he gets into a fist fight with him that eventually causes Sebastian Ryan Philippi to get hit by a car. So he essentially murdered him by fist fighting into a car. So Selma Blair has now been, quote, violated. She's been completely manipulated by this coke fiend, Sarah Michelle Gellar's character. She's probably lost the love of her life, and she ended up having relations with this scumbag who eventually gets killed. Now, at the very end of the movie, she publishes the burn book, the journal. But by then, I mean, this poor lady is just, she's ruined.
Yeah.
So yes, that's my final poor bastard. I love watching that movie because I love pointing out how hideous it is at times. It doesn't hold a candle to the original Dangerous Liaisons, or I guess I should say the what we call kind of the definitive one with Malkovich and Michelle Pfeiffer and all that stuff. You could actually make this comment for Uma Thurman's character in Dangerous Liaisons because she plays the same character, only with more Keanu. So yeah, Cecile Selma Blair is my other poor bastard.
Isn't Reese Witherspoon a poor bastard in that movie too?
I don't think so, man. I don't think
so.
Who
gets hit by a car at the end?
It's Ryan Phillippe.
Oh, well, he deserves it. What about the cello guy? Is he a poor bastard?
No, I mean he's just making money doing music lessons.
He loved her though. He loved Cecile.
Well, yeah, but they're both still alive. He may go to jail at the end of it, but yeah, he's a little bit of a poor bastard. But Reese Witherspoon's character essentially makes it through scot-free. She's all virginal and everything, and Sebastian tries to seduce her, and just so he can do butt stuff with Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Right.
But he falls in love with her, so she keeps her virginity intact until she's convinced that he does love her, which he does. And then they copulate, but then he insults her and she runs away. So she's got her integrity intact. But then he tells her that he loves her, but she really doesn't get the message until later on. And then she gets his car for some reason.
No, you clearly thought this out more than me. I was just curious, and I'd like you to stop talking about it now.
Can we get back to the butt stuff? By the way, I was reading the Wikipedia. Do you ever do this? I was reading the Wikipedia on this not too long ago, the plot and everything. And in the plot description, it says Catherine suggests that if he wins the bet, they could have anal sex. Anal sex is hyperlinked to another Wikipedia article. Now,
no.
I didn't click on it.
Good for you.
If you hover on that hyperlink, it'll bring up the picture of sex, and it's a cartoon.
I was about to say, is it a cartoon diagram of it?
It's a cartoon, but a lot of times they're just going to send you a picture of clitoral stimulation. If you hover on that thing, you'll see a big old clit.
Yep, exactly. Selma Blair, by the way, is one of those where you're just like, oh yeah, she's probably such and such an age or whatever. I think she's currently she's 48 years old. She was 27 when she did Cruel Intentions.
No way.
Yeah. Every time you see Selma Blair, you're like, oh, she's got to be around this age or whatever. But she's always like a little bit older than you think.
Wow.
Did you see they recreated that kiss?
Yeah.
I did not see that.
Yeah. It was like for some award show or whatever.
The VMAs.
But they're like lean in, and right at the last moment, their faces smushed because there's plexiglass between them.
Yeah, it was that. You probably saw commercials for this if you watch Epic Awesome Videos. They did the best VMAs of all time, which I didn't even watch. That stuff is my catnip, and I didn't even watch that stuff. So I probably will later on. But yeah, Cruel Intentions. That's a fun movie. I'm glad it came out when I was 19. So I was around the age of the characters. It was sexy at the time. It had a bunch of sexy people. Ryan Phillippe's super sexy. Reese Witherspoon, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Selma Blair, and the dude who plays Ronald.
Philippe and Witherspoon are so sexy they had babies together after that.
Yeah, they did, and I met them.
Yep. So we recently watched Ocean's 12, and there's a point in there where Bernie Mac's character gets arrested and he goes to jail, and he is out of the picture all the way until the end of the movie.
The entire movie. Bernie fucking Mac. One of the most talented people on that roster.
The only thing I can think of about this is when they decided to do Ocean's 12, he was committed to something else, and he couldn't go with them on Ocean's 12 for some reason. So they had to shoot like only a couple of scenes with him, and then he had to go off and do whatever else he was doing at the time. The only explanation for Bernie Mac being put in jail and not being able to get busted out until the end. In fact, at the very end, they used the same dude from Ocean's 11 who was pretending to beat on George Clooney the whole time.
Yeah.
I think that's who it is.
Yeah, that's it.
And he comes in pretending to be a lawyer and busts Bernie Mac out of jail. Like, why couldn't you just fucking done that in the first place?
He's been sitting there for probably a week in the same clothes, in the same position, next to the same dude on the same bench. And it's like, seriously? Like, at what point do they even mention? Like, she even comes in, Catherine Zeta-Jones comes in and says, we pinched Frank. And Brad Pitt's like, that's a shame. And then he tells everybody, and then they go on to fucking, what is it, London or whatever? No, Rome, or Lake Como, I guess. And they leave his ass there to rot in the Netherlands. I'm like, what the hell, man?
It's so ridiculous you can't even call it Ocean's 12 because he's not in there anymore. He's not part of the team. Julia Roberts comes in and is basically their 11th. So, like, poor bastard. There's no doubt about it. They could have busted him out of prison a week early.
Yes.
And didn't.
Yes.
That's how fucked up that is. That's real fucked up. You think about it. And the Ocean's crew, man. I mean, why do they even worry about going to jail? They apparently know everybody in all of law enforcement and can bust out anytime they want to. There's no reason for them to be scared of jail ever.
Yes.
They're so incompetent in that movie.
Jail is to them what gravity is to the Fast and Furious gang. It's just like a non-threat.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Bernie Mac is a poor bastard in Ocean's 12. There's no doubt.
That's a good one.
You want to do a couple questions?
Do a couple questions.
Question. I got something to say. I want the truth.
I am listening.
I wanted to ask you guys a question for the SinCast. I recently got these movie poster frames for my new apartment and put up a couple of my favorites, The Lighthouse and Overlord. Interesting. I love the Lighthouse poster. Yeah. I know you guys have some cool movie posters in the studio, so I'm wondering, what do you think are the best movie posters? Interested to hear what you have to say, and always keep up the great podcast. Now, we've had this question before, but it was like in episode 3. So it's been a long time since we've talked about the posters, and we've all got some good picks, man. What do you guys got?
The Exorcist has a great image on the front of it. It's it's the priest coming in and there's a light shining down from what we suppose is Linda Blair's apartment or room or whatever, and that's the only light in the entire shot. It's dark all around except for this light coming out of a second-story window shining down on this priest who is walking into the door. And it's simple, it's great, it's something that gets your imagination going. It's a great poster. Pulp Fiction, Uma Thurman lying down with the cigarette in her hand, and with that look on her face and everything. There's a lot conveyed by it. There's a lot of sexy, cool, just a lot of man, I really want to see what this is about, especially Uma Thurman back in 1994 looking as good as she does. And there were a couple of versions of that. One of them had the 10 cents, like it was a pulp magazine type of thing. And then the other ones took that off of that and everything. But that image is great. And then Chinatown has a great poster where you see Jake Geddes with the cigarette, another cigarette one, where the smoke is coming up around this left side, and you can see Faye Dunaway's face outline in the top of it and everything. That's a really well done poster.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the, I think, best posters, whether I think it's cool or would want to hang it on my wall, is the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah,
because Steve Carell has captured a facial expression there that's just that look combined with the title, combined with the rating. Mm-hmm. All they put behind him was yellow because they didn't need anything else. That, as far from a marketing perspective, that poster is perfect.
Yeah.
I always thought one of the coolest movie posters ever was one of those teasers for The Phantom Menace that showed little Jake Lloyd walking in the desert, and on the building behind him, the shadow was Darth Vader's shadow instead of a human-sized Jake Lloyd shadow.
Yep.
And that poster is better than that movie.
Oh, you're talking about... Oh, I see. So not the classic Star Wars poster like Chris has right there.
Teaser poster.
Oh, I remember that now.
Where Anakin's walking towards the camera with his head down and casting a shadow behind him, but it's Darth Vader.
Yeah, that is
brilliant.
Awesome. Yeah.
Brilliant. That's all I got.
All right. Well, immediately what came to my mind, which is weird because I don't love the movie. I do like the movie, but The Abyss came to my head. The Abyss is just... It sets you up for everything that's going to be terrifying about this. It's just Mary Elizabeth Manstrantonio.
Not going to work here anymore.
Mastrantonio. That one. It's just her like at the bottom of the ocean in the water suit, the wetsuit, the astronaut suit. I'm not really talking well right now. Anyway, in silhouette, basically. And then you see the blue, and you're like, oh, I don't know what this movie's about, but she's fucked. And it's just a beautiful poster. I love it. The other ones I came up with, Rosemary's Baby. So good, man. Another Roman Polanski thing, by the way. Yeah. That's one movie that I really want to talk about, which we will in the next question. But it's just her face of her lying down, and then it's in silhouette, the baby carriage. And it's like, again, this woman is fucked.
Yeah.
And she is. It's really, really good. I love it. And my last one, you think it's iconic, and it is iconic, but it's not the poster that college students hang up in their dorm rooms all the time of Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn does have that classic photograph of her kind of sitting and smoking a cigarette and that kind of thing. But the poster for Breakfast at Tiffany's is almost cartoonish. I mean, she does have these features, but it's got her in cartoon form, in that black dress with a beautiful necklace with cat draped around her neck and a cigarette with one of those long stemmed cigarette things. And it's just, it's very barren. It's white background, a few colors, shows her and George Papard kissing. But your eye is obviously just drawn to her. And it's one of my all-time favorite posters. And yes, the song Sucks by Deep Blue Something.
We've already talked about that song many times.
But
so.
The poster and the movie is awesome.
Yep.
What is a movie that, quote, takes a while to horror that you think is really good? This person recently watched Takashi Miike's Audition, and it felt like that, but really enjoyed it. What's something that takes a while to horror?
Yeah, they picked a really good one there. Yeah. Audition is one that I probably would have mentioned, but The Exorcist takes a long time to horror, really.
It kind of does, yeah.
Because the guy has to go through that whole thing that's in Iran at the beginning of the movie, and then you see the whole family dynamic, and Ellen Burstyn is doing her acting and all that, and then it takes until they get that Ouija board or whatever to really have anything start happening, and we start seeing some things that are disturbing, but the actual horror of Linda Blair turning into that possessed demon and everything takes a little while. I imagine it's probably shorter than I think it is in my head, but it does seem like it takes a while before it happens.
I don't know, man, because it goes through all the backstory for the young priest's background, where he's living with his mom, taking care of her, and he's kind of losing his faith. There's a scene with him at the bar, like he's running out there, and there is a lot of stuff going on.
Just it takes her forever to finally get to that point where it's like real horror. Like, yeah, she comes out in the middle of that party and she pees in front of everybody and all that. That's obviously disturbing, but we're not into the point of where the movie is scary yet.
Yeah.
And everything.
There's that one random scene while they're still in Iraq or Iran or wherever they are, of the Max von Sydow character, where like all of a sudden, like he's gone to the trader guy and he's like, hey, I found this artifact and everything. The guy's like, oh, well, that's probably whatever. And then all of a sudden he's out there on the site and looks over at this statue and there's this big, and then it comes to fucking Chicago or wherever they are in America, and indeterminate amount later.
The other one that I had in mind was From Dusk Till Dawn, even though that's more of a comedy horror.
Yeah.
From Dusk Till Dawn is basically a heist movie with a kidnapping and everything that goes on like that for a full half of the movie before they go to that bar and then they go to the titty twister and learn about all the various forms of pussy from Cheech Marin outside. And
pussy.
Yeah. And then they go in the bar, they listen to music, they drink, they all that, and then that's when finally they turn into vampires at the end. It takes a good long while for that to happen, but it's also questionable sometimes whether you want to call that movie actual horror or just comedy horror or whatever. So
yeah, it takes until Santanica Pandemonium comes out and does her sexy dance with the with the tequila.
You will lick the shit from my boot heels.
I will call you Spot.
No thanks, I've already been married.
She does this while he's obviously loading his gun.
Yeah,
even though she's impervious. Like, I mean, you don't want him to. Anyway.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with not a traditional horror movie for one of my answers and say Ex Machina. Which is to say, I believe by the last 10 minutes of this movie, it is a horror movie.
Yeah.
That is my interpretation of it.
Yeah, if you're thinking about someone who's been held captive this whole time and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's definite killing at the end here, but there's psychological horror. The idea that Donald Gleason's character is probably going to die in that room.
Oh, yeah.
And then you think about what she's already done just to get out of here. I think her walking around loose in the world is not a good thing. I think that is a very, very ominous, scary thing.
Yes, it is.
And so I think by the time the movie's over, it has enough horror to qualify. But it really is only the last 10 minutes that it gets into that territory. And then may steal one from Barrett here, but Rosemary's Baby was the one that I was thinking of. Is that I didn't watch it for so long because so many people held it in such high regard as one of the greatest horror movies. And I don't dig typically on horror. And this is so much more suspense for most of the film. And the first time I watched it, I was like, am I even watching the right movie? This is like a young couple moving into an apartment and the neighbors are a little too nice. Like, and it goes for like almost an hour before it even gets foreboding at all. And it does get pretty freaky there for a little bit, for sure. But it takes its sweet time, and I dig that. So there you go. Those are my two answers.
I just watched the first half of this like 2 days ago, and you could not be righter because aside from the drug addict that lives with the old couple, like falling out the window and that gruesomeness there, it's wacky at the beginning. You know, he's an actor that's not really getting parts and stuff like that. She's this nebbish neighbor that comes over. He's like, how much is that chair? You know, how much? Oh, this is beautiful. Like, you know, let me invite you over for a roast. I won't take no for an answer. And then the old man is like, I've been everywhere. I've been to Australia. Yeah, you asked me a place. I've been there. And I'm like, this movie's fucking wacky at the beginning. Yeah. And then it starts getting into like where she's not feeling well and the husband is over there a lot more. And then, hail Satan.
Is it until the scene where he's having sex with her while she's sleeping? Is it until then when the horror actually starts? Because that's where it really starts getting to that point. Yeah, and that it's chilling, the ending of that, where everybody's just like, just spell it out at the end. Hail Satan,
Hail Satan! Yeah. I mean, yeah, other than that, it's just like this cavalcade of a weird New York apartment building and people coming over to their apartment and interrupting them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the only thing that gives it away is that weird necklace that she gives her, and the fact that she's getting sicker and sicker when she starts giving her those milkshakes or whatever they are. And even that probably happens after the uncomfortable scene, the nightmare scene.
Right.
So yeah,
I think we mentioned it before, but when we read about this, and it's apparently one of the most faithful adaptations of any book ever. It's like apparently like super close to what the book
movie's fantastic.
Rare,
it's so good. Mia Farrow is perfect in that movie. I don't remember who plays her actor husband, but
it's John Cassavetes. I believe.
Oh, that's right.
Cassavetes.
That's right. But she's so good in that. She carries the entire movie.
Oh yeah,
so good.
Yeah.
I got a couple to take a while to horror. The Wicker Man, the original one, not the Nicolas Cage remake, takes really forever until the very, very end to horror.
Sure does.
You got to go through this English police officer going through this entire town looking for this girl. And yeah, everybody looks suspicious and weird and stuff like that, but they don't go full suspicious and crazy until the very, very end. And the end is so goddamn disturbing, man. Everything that Nicolas Cage put over the top in that remake, the guy here does beautifully. Even though he's scared out of his mind, he starts singing like this Christian song at the beginning while he's being burned to death. And I'm like, oh God, that's so creepy, while they're all smiling and Christopher Lee's doing his smile thing, talking about panties. So yeah, Jesus. If you're going to watch a Wicker Man, watch the original Wicker Man. It's rad as hell. And last one is the Vivitch. Now, I haven't gone back and watched the Vivitch. I watched it once for pleasure, once for sending it. Didn't like it either time. Really didn't like it the first time, and then had the sin hat on for the second time. The more I think about this movie, and I definitely love The Lighthouse. Robert Eggers is coming out with a new movie with Nicole Kidman and Anya Taylor-Joy and one of the Skarsgårds. My memory of it is fonder over time. But that's one. There's a weird shot of like a witch and a baby and stuff like that early on. But other than that, it's just a puritanical family doing puritanical shit. And it's not until Black Phillip comes out of nowhere with that whole "wouldst thou like to live deliciously," and that whatever voice they use on it is bone chilling. Yeah. And that's where like the movie gets really, really interesting. And the camera's just on Anya Taylor-Joy's beautiful face, and it's awesome. The ending of that is fucking awesome. But it takes until the ending for it to really horror at all.
Yeah, I mean, you have the excursion of her brother going out and finding the witch in the cave and all that, but there's not you see more of the aftermath than you see of him actually being there with her or anything. You see him coming back from that afterwards, and he says he has all those weird like things that he says while he's on his deathbed essentially, and it does take forever to there's some sort of religious difference that they have with the people that they're running away from. They're basically banned at the beginning of the thing.
From the church, they're excommunicated.
I don't even know if we know exactly what their differences are.
I think they were too fundamentalist for the even fundamentalist church.
Yeah, it could be. And then they had to go out and find some place in the middle of nowhere to build a home and everything. So yeah.
You guys also got maybe the deepest voice I've ever heard.
He does. He's in a lot of movies, by the way, that dude.
You're a Vivitch.
Yeah.
That's what you are.
Yeah, they're trying to use that that dialect too from back in the day, and if you don't have the subtitles, fuck, have no chance.
Incomprehensible.
No chance. Okay, that's going to do it for this week. Keep going to SinCast presented by Cinemasins on Facebook. We're also on Cinemasins Twitter, Music Video Sins Twitter. We're on SoundCloud and we're on Discord. If you want to get on Discord, you can go to our Reddit page and find a link on the right side there, or go to Facebook and private message me and I'll give you a link there. We have some other stuff to mention at all.
We got a Patreon. A Patreon. You can become a member. You can get this thing that's in your ear holes right now. You can get it early if you sign up. Excuse me. If you sign up for our Patreon and become a Sin Club member, you get all this stuff early. You get your videos early. Today we published Cats, which is going to be awesome to see the response to. You could have gotten that early. You get bonus videos every month. You get bonus pods every month. You get all kinds of stuff. Go to patreon.com/cinemasins and bathe in the goodness. Let it wash over you.
Don't forget, we also have a brand new rebranded Cinemasins Podcast Network channel on YouTube where all of our podcast content can be found. That is this SinCast, the Behind the Sins SinCast, any mini-pod reviews, interviews with filmmakers, all of that can be found. It's slow going because there's a bunch of that shit, but we're going to get it all up there at the Cinemasins Podcast Network.
It's on there now, baby. Even the Starting Now podcast that Chris and I and our buddy Mike did is
excellent.
Up there all 2 seasons, every episode. Go check it out there. CSPN. I love it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week. It's Chris Atkins and Jeremy Scott and Barrett Scher. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
So I'm wearing new earbuds this time because guess what? My fucking dog ate another pair of earbuds.
See, at this point, that's on you. You got to stop leaving that shit out.
Yo, first time we were all wrestling, right? I had come up from editing SinCast. Everybody was upstairs. We were changing the sheets, and every time we do that, the dogs go nuts, and Hudson like throws stuff on everybody and everything. Everybody was having a good time. And then I hear this. I turn around. My things have fallen off. Motherfuckers ate those earbuds. Okay, fine. Replace those. I keep my microphone when I'm not using it in that corner. It's up, but the earbuds were attached to it, and they were a little bit dangly. Now this dog, Wicket, is never in this office, but somehow he found time to bolt in here.
Not that you know of.
Apparently not. Came in here and just ate those motherfuckers. Didn't eat anything else. Just ate those.
You know, he's probably been in that office many times and just didn't have earbuds to chew on.
God damn it.
I do want to point out, I had to end up using the Microsoft Edge browser to make this fucking shit work. Which I only have because I have Windows, and it's like there by default.
But aren't you worried that Bill Gates is going to install a microchip in your skin if you use Microsoft Edge?
No, because he's too busy being part of the Pizza Satan Underground, whatever the shit. Like, he caused the coronavirus.
Those guys are never too busy. Those guys have time turners.
Time turners, yeah. I bet they do.
Hey, I got in a fight this morning.
Huh?
What?
A little bit. So my son is taking exams.
Yeah.
And he's doing remote. And a science teacher who we've been friendly with the whole time. Yeah, this is a nice lady. he didn't get the schedule for his midterm exams until last night at like 8 o'clock. So like he had no idea where to go, who to see, what subject he was taking. And so the science teacher pops up on the Zoom this morning, and she says, print out your thing. She said she was going to get it 5 to 10 minutes before class. It's 7:59, and we just get the test. Okay, we open it, try to print it. Printer doesn't work. So he goes on to tell her, hey, my printer doesn't work. What should I do? She says, you should have been prepared for that. And I don't have time to talk to you when I've got this class of students, because there's some that are in class and some that are remote.
Yeah. Excuse me.
And then she was like, can I upload it a different way? And my wife and I were in the room, and we're like, yes, could you please do that? She said, I need you guys to stop talking because I've got other classmates in here. And my wife, who is the sweetest person in the world, turned to me and mouthed, I'm going to fuck this woman up.
Where do people fucking get off, man? I don't understand it. I know there might be things going on in your life. I expect that a lot of times when people just for no reason are just kind of like angry with you and stuff. And it's the holidays and it's pandemic and there's a lot of bullshit going on. So I'm willing to cut you a little bit of slack, but goddamn, man, you have to realize who you're talking to when you're addressing situations. You can't just all of a sudden think that everybody's going to be on board with every fucking little error that comes up. And I'll never understand that. Like, I remember at the theater, the old theater that I worked at, this guy comes out, and I guess because I was at an older kind of theater that was kind of running down and everything. Some piece of like foam or something fell out of the ceiling and hit his kid in the head, which is, not cool. And so he gets me, he gets the manager. And of course, back in the Williamson Square days, man, I didn't wear like suit and tie or anything like that. I was wearing like jeans and all sorts of shit. So I know I look unprofessional. But he comes up and he talks to me, and I'm like, all right, so what happened? He's like, yeah, it looks like a piece of your ceiling fell on my son's head. And I was like, oh shit, I'm sorry about that. Didn't say oh shit, but I was like, I'm sorry about that. So what can I do? And he stands there and doesn't say anything. And I'm like, I was like, so what would you like me to do? And he's like, excuse me for a second, man. I'm trying to talk to my son here. And I was like, you came to me. You asked for me. I don't understand what the whole, like, I'm sitting here talking to my son bullshit means when I'm asking how to fix the problem.
Yeah. I'm going to burn stuff.
Yes.
Like when Giovanni Ribisi is a guest on Friends as an idiot brother of Phoebe's. She's like, what stuff do you like to do? And he's like, burn stuff. Like, what are some of your dislikes? Stuff that doesn't burn.
I have entertained the idea of getting one of those, like an egg or something like that, to cook out on and everything.
Oh yeah, man! Just get you a gas grill, man. That'll be the easiest thing. You can swap out the propane between the grill and the thing, and that way you don't have to worry about charcoal or airflow and all that stuff.
Because there's some things I cook where I'm just like, this is good. That I'm using I'm using a pan or whatever. This is good, but I just want to know what it tastes like cooking it out on a grill.
Yeah. We were in the mountains last time. I cooked virtually everything, even breakfast, lunch, and dinner on the grill.
Yeah, I know.
You can just throw pans on there, cast iron on there, and it's good stuff.
Don't tell me you got the Rona nose.
Rona nose.
Rona nose.
No, I was wearing that hat because I found it in my closet just to look like an asshole. and I think it's like the mohair sweater from Seinfeld, like the sniffing accountant. I think I'm allergic to it. That's kind of one of the greatest scenes in Seinfeld history, where somehow I still don't know how he does this. Kramer smokes a cigarette while drinking that entire beer, and he's still puffing on it while he's drinking. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
How does he do that?
I don't know.
There's no way.
I guarantee you he practiced, because that was his thing, man. He probably did it 100 times. But
either that, or they had some sort of smoke machine that showed smoke coming out.
I think there's it's like Kenny G, where he can do the continuous breath.
It's just like Kenny G.
It's circular breathing with beer and cigarettes.
Circular breathing.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it just like when the ventriloquist drinks water while doing the voices?
Yeah, there's just some way that he's done this.
I can't believe we didn't know that Alan Thicke had died 4 years before.
That's terrible.
What is up with that? I even looked him up looked up that Growing Pains episode to see if I could get the one where he's like Sieverman. And I missed that he's dead.
I don't remember the big story or anything, but you know what? It was 2016. Everybody died in 2016.
That's true.
Remember that was that year that just like every celebrity, it seemed like.
That was the first year that everyone on Twitter decided to make jokes about this is the worst year ever. And it's happened every year since. And 2020 has literally been the worst year ever. But I guarantee you by January 28th, enough shit will have happened. People will be joking about, oh God, 2021 is going to show 2020 the door and shit like that. Hold my beer and all that stuff. It's going to happen.
Yep.
Now, to be fair, 2016 was maybe it took a pandemic to usurp 2016 because Prince, Bowie, Trump got elected. Like, Alan Thicke died.
Alan Thicke died.
It was crushing.
There was a lot of shit going on in 2016.
For 10 seconds, and until somebody else died. There was a joke that the stand-up comic. Did you ever heard of Jake Johansen before?
Yeah.
Jake Johansen was talking about border control or whatever. This is not like asshole border control or anything like that. I think we need to stop all. He's not like that. He was just like, he's like, people are worried about unfettered immigration. Of course, if I won't listen to this act again, it's probably way worse now. But I've never known him to be like a really offensive comic, but he's like, I've got a great idea for that. A burning river of gas. And he's like, and you could even charge money for it. People could come over and see the burning river of gas. It'd be great. And he's like, and look, we got to do Canada 2. Can't just let Alan Thicke come over whenever he wants. There was a story about how many people die at the Grand Canyon every year and everything. I can't remember what the number was, but I was like, yeah, I've been there. I can see that happening.
Yep. Hey, that covers a lot of ground, man.
Well, I mean, there was a point, my walk, through my first trip on the Grand Canyon and everything, there's a path that you go down to, sort of know where you are and everything. But you can go off of that path easily. It's not illegal for you to do it. They sort of encourage it almost. And I went off into this one spot. Nobody was around at all. And I was like, Jesus, if I'm not paying it, I had to jerk it first.
And it goes all the way into the Colorado River.
It's my goal of leaving my seed everywhere I go.
I like how my mind went from no one was around immediately to better jerk off.
Yeah,
you don't know when these
look, if you can't jerk off at the Grand Canyon,
look, I was sitting.
You shouldn't be jerking off.
No, look, I actually sit there and thought I could do that if I wanted to. Nobody would see this shit. I know, it's like, and then I started looking around. I was like, I bet people fucked here. I bet they definitely fucked here. But like, if you're not paying attention, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, it's an easy place to just fall the fuck off if you're not paying attention.
I read that Kiernan Shipka keeps little mini trampolines all over her house, and she randomly jumps on them, both for exercise and to boost her mood, whether she's watching TV or working on lines or just hanging out with friends. So there you go.
I get the sense that Kiernan Shipka is one of the most awesome fucking people ever.
She might be. She might be.
Like, I don't know why I get that sense, but just seems like it to me.
Somebody that keeps mini trampolines all over their house is already, doing good in my book.
I might copy that. Copy that. Yeah. What's the problem with it? Besides, if you get up and get some water late at night and like trip over everything, or like you go out bounding to your right or something.
I guarantee you, I would. I'd stump my toe against it, all sorts of shit. Guaranteed. And I'd be like, "Why is the trampoline here?" Oh yeah, it's because
I was trying to boost my goddamn mood.
Yep. Genitals. Show us your genitals. Your genitalia.
What is that?
You guys never heard that before?
I heard that. I don't remember what it is, but I know that.
It's John LaJoie, who was on The League. He played what is his name on The League? He's the guy who's always starting new businesses, and he's an idiot. And
Taco.
He's the guy who plays that. John LaJoie had this song where it was just like a video of him. Show us your genitals. Show us or show me your genitals. Your genitalia.
He's a stand-up, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I actually read that CBS All Access is considering putting Discovery and Picard, their Trek show flagship shows, on Netflix because they're drawing like no audience because nobody knows about CBS All Access, or as I prefer to think, nobody cares about CBS All Access. So they're thinking of putting it on a competitor service to give it more eyeballs, to then turn around and hope the hype comes back to CBS All Access, which is dumb, I think.
Yeah, that's very dumb.
I'll talk more about it when Barrett does his rant about HBO Max, but I had a lot of discussion about this over the weekend with some people.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to
streaming services in general. So,
because it's not easy to talk about your genitals, right? You don't go in and say, "Here's my hoo-ha."
This is cut. He's tripling down.